Today, I'm going live with one of our amazing coaches who's going to share the one simple thing that she did to explode her caseload from 2 clients to 25 clients in a matter of months. Hello, friends. Before we dive into this week's episode, I just want to share something that I have been working on behind the scenes and I'm so excited about. It's an opportunity for you to bring your dreamiest of clients into your world in the best way possible. And I see you. I know you're working hard to build your business, but sometimes it feels like you're stuck in this hamster wheel. You get clients and then they don't seem to come. You know, you've got the passion, the skills, you're a high achiever, but how do you get clients to truly see your value? And I want to help you change that. Um, I want to help you break free of that feast and famine cycle. And I believe the answer is building out a small bite offer in your business that builds trust on the front end so your clients absolutely want to continue to work with you. This is not honestly another program. This is a live, taught in live in real time. It's a lifeline for coaches who I think are ready to create real momentum in their business in 2025. And inside it, I'm going to walk you through the small bite offer. It's the small bite offer method. It's the exact method that I've used in my business that have helped me create 71 months of consistent 5-figure income and has helped me turn a $79 coaching offer into a six-figure income stream. And I'm going to walk you through the exact process in 2 days of real-time teaching on March 4th and March 11th. So I would love for you to gather all the details and join us at amanda-walker.com/small bite. Hello, coaches. Welcome to another episode of the Best Damn Coach podcast. I'm joined by one of the amazing members of the Best Damn Coach, also a graduate of our Framework Builder Lab. And I'm excited to showcase her, first all. And second is just like talk about her journey and the succession of events that has led to her success as she's growing her coaching business. So welcome to the show, Dr. Angeline Franks.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm trying to think, how did we get to know each other? Did you hear me on another podcast or?
I think it was an ad. I think I got one of your ads. Well,
How bad?
No. I know. And I had downloaded your lead magnet and the 10 questions, and then it was, I guess you weren't even doing the Framework Builder Live at that point, or so I did the recording and then watched your your live sessions, because I think you were giving that as a little bonus or something after we went to the webinar. Yeah.
Amazing. It's so cool just to like remember how it all started too, because it's always a testament to like, okay, ads are working. Ads are a long game strategy. But however it was, I'm so grateful you've come into my world, because before we started recording, the thing that I love about you is just your energy, first off, but you have such thoughtfulness around your work and you take the learnings that we do together and it's like you run it through your filter of the people you serve, your own professional experience, and you often just like give the most thoughtful responses or questions. And I just really, really value that. So I just want to say thank you for that and just being so intentional with what you're building too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I really do try to be intentional and take, what you are offering and what you provide in the BDC, and then use it like paired with my intuition and what I feel like is the right thing for me. And I think that's the best thing so many people can do when you're building.
I agree with you, hand it down. I've done the same the whole time. Is like coaches are so key and guides because they get us there so much faster. But I think the worst thing we could do is try to build somebody else's business and then 3 years down the road find out like, ooh, this doesn't work for me. So intuition is definitely a partner in the implementation.
100%.
Okay, so before we lean into just showcasing some of the results and some of the things that you've been doing since joining the BDC, I'd love for you to just share with the audience like what you did before and what brought you into coaching, because it's important. All of our work is important, but I just love the fact that you have such authority and study in one area and are bringing it into the coaching space.
Thank you. Yeah. So I started my career as a speech language pathologist. So I worked for over 10 years and then decided to go back for my doctorate degree where I bounced around what I was going to study, but ended up kind of out of necessity and my own burnout, studying burnout and stress management and mindfulness in speech language pathologists. And so that led me to kind of learning that a lot of what I was doing in my career, and you probably know this from when you were a teacher, just there's so many extenuating circumstances, but there's also so much you can do to help yourself. And I didn't realize just kind of what my role in my own burnout was. Not to say that it was my fault, but there's a lot that went into it. It was multifactorial. And so I learned that there's so many things that I could do. And then I realized that if I could share that with other speech, that's ironic, speech language, or
SLPs.
yes, SLPs or educators, other clinicians that I could just give them some more tools to, stay in their careers longer, because that's also the only way we're going to be able to support the students or adults or clients or whoever they work with. And so when I kind of got to the end of my burnout rope, I went to work in a non-clinical role. So I also stepped away from working with clients because of burnout. And so I think I'm appreciative for my 9-to-5 job, but I'm also really passionate about, if that is something somebody wants to do as a clinician, I want it to be their choice and not necessarily something they do because of burnout. And so I help people pivot if they want to pivot. We work on finding their core values before they pivot instead of I've made a couple pivots that weren't exactly the best for me because I wasn't really being thoughtful about it. And so, yeah, that's kind of my background and how I ended up here.
So good. So now I'm curious though, as you've made this pivot, did you identify primarily with the term coach, or did that not fit you initially?
No, I think I told you, like I was so uncomfortable with it. And it's so funny because now it doesn't feel uncomfortable to use that term, but I also wasn't like a sports kid. I wasn't teaching anyone to throw basketballs like at all. And so I never really, I don't know, I didn't really even have coaches in my life. And so I think that might have been part of it. But yeah, I didn't know any of like all of the pieces of being a coach, or I don't even know that I had hired a coach in any way, shape, or form, but I had lots of mentors and people that I worked with. But this feels different than just like being a mentor to somebody. And so I do identify with the term a lot more now. But I was really uncomfortable with it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like so many people, especially, I mean, if we're just honest with each other, because the term coach has been watered down so much inside the industry. But I feel like it's like I could call the best damn mentor podcast, the best damn expert podcast, the best damn practitioner podcast, because they do look at all of those things kind of do for the most part fall into the same bucket. Some are more there's more reciprocity. They're more reciprocal in nature, and some are more like authoritative, I think, depending upon what role. But I think you're like many people. It's like, I feel it. I have this call, the title, but like, don't let that stop you, right? It's still like, you're just going to get into this role where you're caring and loving and serving people, and the title will slowly fix itself over time.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's like that connection piece is what is so important, connecting with the people that I'm working with. And I think lately I've moved towards like burnout strategist, I guess, but I say burnout coach sometimes. And it's not that, I guess I just don't feel uncomfortable with it anymore. It's just, I'm still trying to find the right term, like you said, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not because I'm avoiding it anymore.
That's awesome.
Like
That's
I wasn't
awesome, for sure. One of the reasons that I was really excited to have you on the show is we were on a BDC call, I don't know, a month or two ago, and we were in office hours, and you had submitted a question for office hours. And you said something on there that just like really made my heart sing. And it was something in the nature of, I don't know, Amanda, I've been in this community for a little while and I've done the things that you have told me to do and they're just working. So I just need you to help me tell me more things that are working. And I just want to say thank you for that. I love hearing that
You're
feedback.
welcome.
But I would love for you to just share, like, what is working for you right now? Like, what are some of those things that since joining the community, you've gone out and you've done and you've been like, okay, ROI?
Yes. Well, for one, I think most of the time when you say something initially, I'm like, that won't work. Like my brain says that. It's a thought, not a fact, though. You also say that.
Yes.
So I think, no, maybe that won't work. And like you kind of said, I read it through whatever filter I have. But some of the things that have worked, I think, um, like what you've shared about kind of having a solid lead magnet and all of that. Like I looked right before this and my um, email list has grown by almost 100 people just this year. Like, and it's January, the end of January when we're recording this. So I thought
That's
this is
amazing.
a
That's a
really
big
big
win.
deal. Yes, and it's like it's organic growth. Like it's not coming from anything one thing I
Feed or ads or anything.
yeah
Right.
yeah, and so that makes me really happy. But I think some of the office hours and some of the things that we worked through, I guess that was the end of 2024 when we worked through lead magnets. That was really helpful. The small bite offer, I feel like right now I have two that are working. And one is a burnout audit, which again, you suggested. And I was like, that will never work. And I don't say it out loud to you. I just, it's really good. And I write it down and I think about it and I watch
Her like, she's crazy.
well, I'm just like that. I don't think that's going to work. But I do, like, I really do think you know what you're talking about. And like, I think, I don't know, it's not all, I don't ever do a thing if it doesn't feel right. But after I sit with it for a while, or usually eventually I like get back to it on my own because I'm stubborn. But like,
Me too.
yeah. And it's like, but the burnout audits I've been doing have actually been the most impactful thing in the short term because I'm getting more information from my ideal client. So, what I do is have them fill out an audit form, which what was happening at first was I was getting a lot of people who were super, super burnt out and like not, I was having a hard time. They needed more than just, and I think this was my question that day. They needed more than just coaching. Like there was a lot going on and I needed to filter out and find kind of who was not quite all the way burnt out yet and was ready to kind of more open to coaching, I guess. And so knowing that they'll fill something out that is not super long, but is that kind of lets me know that there's buy-in and that they're, wanting to put that out there. And then I kind of review the information and then we have an hour coaching call. And it's been so amazing because A, the information that I'm getting is really helpful. B, it's been the first time that I'm getting consistent feedback of things that are working and like things that people are happy about. And, then I'll get DMs that say, after that call and something, I think listening to the podcast that I started this year, after two things, like I have found my core values. I feel like I can make, better decisions for myself. And that's like, I needed that because I had been working on this for, I guess, about a year and willing to build slowly and just willing to take my time and do this right. But it's been really exciting to get, positive feedback and know that I'm making an impact without feeling like I have to plan a whole course yet.
Yes, yes.
I don't feel ready to launch this giant thing. I don't have enough data.
Yeah. So good. I want to like hover around here because this is one of the main reasons I wanted to bring you on because we're on the heels now. We're just about to open the doors for the first time ever to our small bite offer intensive. And this was something that I've literally been doing in my business since the beginning. I didn't know it, I didn't have a name for it, but just like you, honestly, audits were a way that I was filling my client caseload. And I just did this thing in Stripe. I'm going to share this. I'm probably going to talk about it in the next episode too, but I honestly, I try not to immerse myself in monetary numbers too much because I can get very fixated on the numbers. And then I feel like it becomes more about money and less about service. So I have to like set kind of strong boundaries. But I was in Stripe and I was like, I wonder what my all time revenue is in Stripe. And I found the number and I was like, this is so freaking cool. Like in a 25-year career as a teacher, I would have never even scratched the surface of bringing that in. But then I thought, you know what? That's cool. But what's even cooler is consistency. So I went in and I looked to try to find how many months in a row I'd brought in 5 figures of revenue or more. And I thought that really is a testament of consistency and overcoming that feast and famine cycle that I think keeps so many entrepreneurs at bay. 71 months I've had in a row of 5 figure income. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn, kind of. But one of the reasons that the consistency is there is exactly what you started alluding to was there is a small bite offer that creates an opportunity for your people to come in and experience you. And when they experience you, I know you, you're doing such an amazing job that either they're going to get what they need and you will have done your job, and or it was so good they want more of you, right? And so back in the day, I used to do a nutrition audit, and the same way I would audit, like, here's the things, here's the opportunities. They're like, okay, I need you, like, now walk me through this process. And so now we've carried that over, right? It looks a little different. Now it's the Framework Builder Lab. Now it's a $27 download. But in any way, the thing that is so important right now is exactly what you're doing, Angeline, is building up the trust. You're qualifying your leads. You've already figured out how to do that better. You're getting paid to do that, which is super cool. And
Yeah.
and meeting that price point where you're at, because you and I've also done a lot of discussions around price points because we come from the same background. It's like we're a bit like bleeding heart service providers. We just want to help all the people. And at first it's like it's hard to charge for that. But I'm so proud of you because you've made such strides in already doing that. But you have taken kind of the idea of the small bite offer, you've owned it, you have it operating in two ways in your business. And I think that every single coach absolutely should have this process in their business because it's so many people are just waiting to charge the 3K, the 5K, the 10K because somebody told them that's how much they're worth. But in today's market, people need something smaller to test drive the ship. So kudos to you.
Thank you. I think too, the one other thing that I just want to add is for me, it helped build confidence too, because I'm doing those audits and I've limited myself to 5 a month just for right now because I'm still working 9 to 5 job, have a teenager, like there's a lot going on. And so I want to make sure that just making sure that I have the time. Also, when you burn out, you don't want to test it a row, you don't want to go back. And so I'm also working through the fear of that because the other thing is when you're also doing something like really that you love and is so amazing and is so fun and so meaningful, I don't think I'm going to burn out as much again as long as I'm a little bit careful, but
And I totally agree.
But yeah, it's helped build my confidence, which I think is something that I needed. And so, but yeah, I was thinking I have to do this big thing, or I feel like I still have all these ideas for this giant 6-week, 8-week course or whatever it is. But I think I am going to benefit, and my future clients and current clients are going to benefit from me having this information and building in this way, I guess, using the small bite offer.
Yeah. I love that you said too, it's like you already have an easy 6-figure business model. Like I don't know if you see that, but yeah, I mean, if you think about it and we could like workshop the numbers even is if you so you mentioned the audit. Tell us about the other the first place you trialed out the small buy offer a little bit and how that went for you too.
Yes. So the first place I tried it was I kind of took one small piece of what I imagined to be this giant course, or even just one small piece of my framework, um, as a values-based vision board audit, not audit, I'm sorry, a values-based vision board course. And so it was just a workshop. Um, and the first one was amazing and it went really well. The second one actually didn't go as well. But the funny thing is I don't really think of it maybe as a failure per se, even though I could put it on my fail fast place, but I do think I got a little bit more information from it. But the concept of it, I think, is working. And I love what you also teach about kind of making one change and then offering this thing again, right? Because this is it a 2-hour workshop. Sometimes workshops, I think just figuring out where to put them in the day. Like, I think that's kind of what happened the second time. But I also think kind of building the foundation into the audits as far as the information from the vision board workshop is what people are needing. And so I think there's different pieces and layers to it, but that workshop is working too. And also an opportunity for me to get paid. So, and just make an impact. And if somebody doesn't want that one-on-one, they are benefiting from that kind of group setting.
Yeah. Well, I think the power of the small bite, right, is it's building trust with you, most important. It's putting somebody in front of you who can learn your coaching style, it elevates your authority, it elevates your expertise. They're like, oh, Angela knows what she's talking about, right? So the cool thing about that is, and I see this a lot, is students will come through the FBL and sometimes they don't go immediately into the best damn coach. They circulate for maybe a year. And now the timing is right. They've implemented, now they're ready to do the next thing or go all in, or, maybe their pain points have increased and they're ready for support. And so the idea though is you're top of mind because they've already invested with you. And so it's very clear that like you would be the next step. But I think that the struggle I'm just seeing time and time again is I think there's this fictitious picture that's painted around the coaching industry that is just like so easy, go make 6 figures overnight. But the landscape has changed, right? People are kind of figuring some things out around coaching. There's people, unfortunately, who are really great at marketing, and then you get inside their world and they do not show up for you. They do not deliver results. And so people are kind of like hesitant. How am I going? Like, should I invest again? Should I not? And so this is like, for me, the key. Every coach should have the small buy offer into that signature coaching. And that's where I was going with this is you have that, right? And essentially, like, depending upon how much you want to put the gas pedal down as you decide what you're doing with a 9 to 5 and what does that look like income wise and how much do you want to move into coaching full time as you go is very simply you can increase those audits, the vision board work, and it leads in beautifully into a 1-to-1 coaching package without you having to build out this robust program until maybe a year from now or 2 years from now. You're like, okay, now I'm ready to build out a program and a group coaching offer, and I'm ready to go all in on this community. You can be fine-tuning the systems in front to create that steady stream of income.
Yeah, that really does make sense. That was another time that you were right, though, because I think when I came to you, I told you like one-on-one coaching feels like too much. Like I was feeling like it was heavy. But what I hadn't refined was like the front end of how to kind of find my ideal client, I guess. And so that's the other thing that I feel like this small buy offer has helped me do is refine my ideal client in the sense that it's the people that I can work with, that I can help, that are ready to work with me. And I think maybe that came from like the education background too, as far as like wanting to help everyone in every single way, but we can't do that realistically, sustainably, I guess. So
yeah, for sure. I think too the beauty of just this small bite is you can tailor it, which I want to talk about in just a second, but you just get more touch points with your people. And especially I think A skill set that we will never move away from studying is understanding the pain points in the language of our ideal client. So even if you didn't, the small bite offer isn't necessarily it can be like a forward facing to make lots of cash. That's great. But sometimes the greatest beauty is just even breaking even if you run ads to it, or just gaining so much knowledge about what's going to help you do a better job at marketing more of the small bite offer, or marketing the next step in your coaching. Or for you now, as you deliver the small bites, what you're going to have data to figure out is how many people are going into my one-to-one coaching. And maybe at first you're like, none. And then you're like, oh crap, I'm not seeding that as an upsell. I didn't even mention to them in my audit that there's a next step. That's why I said it. Um, and so now you're like, okay, here's the gap. Here's the one thing to tweak. Now at the end of that audit, I'm going to mention my coaching and I'm going to send a few follow-ups, or I'm going to maybe offer them the investment back that they paid for the audit if they apply, move into one. There's so many tweaks and adjustments to make. And that's why I really feel like you're on the way to like an easy, steady six-figure stream of income for sure.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that makes sense. And I love that. And it really does. See, again, here we go.
Yeah, as you say, it just makes sense. But I want to say too, the small bite offer, Angela and I have both talked about audits. Audits are a great tool depending upon your business model, but it can look very different. And inside the small bite offer intensive, I give a host of ideas you can tailor towards. But the key thing that lumps them all together is they solve a specific problem. They solve something smaller that's part of your larger coaching. And this is where the sweet spot of trial comes. In our business, my small bite is two things. So they're becoming two things. It's how do I build a framework, right? So I can be better at coaching. But now, how do I get clients using a tried and true offer? And so now people get a taste of that small micro problem I solved that leads into the larger problem. And that's why it's working great for Angeline too. And it will work great in anybody's business. It's just making sure we don't say too vague and we get really clear on like, okay, what's an immediate win they can have that they love you so much for, they want more of.
Yeah. And I'll say too, I feel like I had the win and somebody reached out, an SLP reached out and said they wanted to talk more about a pivot to a non-clinical role. And I was like, but this is a burnout audit. I don't know if I can do this. And the best thing that I did was I was honest with her and I said, this is what this looks like. If you think that this is what you're looking for, I would be happy to help. If you don't, that's great too. And I'm so glad that she said yes, because I think it helped me almost see like two ways that audit could go. But it's pretty much, it's the same. They have a different outcome, but what we work on inside of it as far as what's causing their burnout is the same. So good. But without her kind of asking for that, I think I didn't know. And it's just another example of, that small bite offer can be different things. And I have really loved not doing that large piece of not offering something really big, because then I don't know, it's giving me more confidence in myself and what I'm doing.
Simple is always best. If it starts to get overcomplicated, it's usually my internal sign of like, no, pump the brakes. Like there's got to be a more simple and effective way. Business doesn't have to be, nor should it be, complicated by any means.
Right. And that's what makes that will be sustainable.
Yeah,
not for sure.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so grateful that you could just share how instrumental applying the small bite offer has been. And I'm so excited for what 2025 will bring when you have like that clear pathway, right? That client journey in place. Now we just want to double down on the next step, which is the coaching potentially that comes after it. So thank you for taking the time to share your wins and how it's impacted you. I'm super grateful.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Share with our audience. So if you're an SLP and struggling with burnout or signs of burnout or pivoting or like all the things, or you just want an awesome expert to guide you in all things SLP, where can they find you?
I am mostly on Instagram at Dr.Angeline Franks, and you can send me a DM. There's a core values lead magnet right there. And yeah, I think educators, clinicians, not necessarily just SLPs, but people in helping professions, I think I feel most comfortable guiding. And so I would love to just have anyone come over there.
I love it. Awesome. Okay. We will link to her social in the show notes as well. And again, I'm just so grateful for you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. This is fun.